Welcome to Fix and Fly, the business podcast that discusses common business issues so you know what to look out for in your day-to-day business life. So tune in every fortnight where you can hear from leaders of corporates to SMEs and implement their successful strategies into your business. Mahesh,
Yes.
Welcome to Fix and Fly.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you here today. I know a little bit about your background. You were born in India.
Yeah.
You did your schooling in your younger years in Singapore, and then you arrived on New Zealand shores when you were 14
Yeah. By myself.
to Napier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you were the 25th employee at Canva,
Yeah.
$40 billion company.
Yeah.
How did that all happen?
I've never been one to go, I can't do something. I failed a lot of my life, but nothing's that complicated and I'm okay with failure. I'll be vulnerable about it and move on. That has led to that kind of like betting on yourself. It's just like betting on a company. I'm betting on me. But probably the single most impactful thing in my whole life was the GFC, the global financial crisis.
Yeah.
I'd just been headhunted from Tokyo to Sydney.
Yeah.
I was working in Tokyo, was in Sydney in this trendy professional services company, and then the tap stopped, right? I got made redundant. I was killing it. I paid off my 80K student loan. I was surging through the managerial class, and my vocational connection to society was severed. And nobody was doing anything, right? And I remember thinking to myself, should I learn how to busk? Like, I don't have skills. Like, I don't know what to do. And fortunately, I'm not an angry person. What I realized was I didn't understand how the world worked, the economics of the world and how society functioned. And so instead of getting angry or feeling sorry, I did an MBA. Mm-hmm. The GFC made me realize I needed to create value to feel sovereign. I needed to know that I knew stuff, really knew stuff that the world wanted. I could do things like a doctor can, like a teacher can, right? Which is how I then ended up being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to make your own thing.
And just learning how the ecosystem is not just made up of one thing, right? When I'm looking at these businesses that I go into that are distressed, it's not just the making the sale, it's the finance, it's the supply chain, it's your customer experience, it's the whole gambit.
100%.
And it's not just a single thing in the ecosystem, but it's the wider ecosystem, I guess, and understanding that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm sure you find that with a lot of your clients, at the root of it all, it comes to, hey, what do you really want? What are your priorities? Why are you doing this?
Yes.
If this is your priority over here,
Yeah.
these are your constraints. I don't think you understand or acknowledge your constraints. And it's those basic things that in the noise of it all, you don't see it. And someone like yourself can come in and go, hey, I'm just going to be a mirror. Let me just I think this is not aligned. And if we just do this, and it's a struggle, right? Because these are tough, vulnerable conversations.
Oh, absolutely. And, sometimes it's a passion project that they've started up and they're tipping so much cash into it, but it was never going to be viable. It's not viable, but they've tipped so much cash in, they are now all in and trying to direct that cash flow into the actual nuts and bolts of the operation can sometimes be challenging for business owners. Do you see with some of your startups, you have to direct them to go down a different path? Or
Yeah. So the first question I ask any entrepreneur I meet, and Kiwi entrepreneurs mean the world to me, and we need Kiwi entrepreneurs to win and win big.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, 100%. I spend 2 to 3 hours usually just going, hey, what's your story? Because I'm trying to understand who the person is. What are the inflection points in their life? What are the glitches in their system? And then really have a frank conversation around, hey, this is going to end one day, this venture and this business. At the end of it, what's the story? Do you want financial freedom? Do you want to make regional level change? Because if you're successful enough, you can build trust and you can invest into your local school and do a whole bunch of stuff. Or like Canva, you can donate $16 billion, right? So, and any of those are possible, but let's have a frank conversation about what you want to get out of this right now. And with the first two things I've just said, the financial freedom and the regional level change, that's a number. That's an actual tangible number, right? Oh, so you want financial freedom, you want a little bit of money for your friends, whatever. That's $5 million. Okay, that's a very tangible thing. Suddenly decision-making becomes so rational.
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to buy it in 10 years? Who's going to buy it in 8 years? Are you setting up for dividends? Are you going to list on the New Zealand Stock Exchange? It's one of those three. Okay, can we just start reverse engineering right now? And people don't have this conversation.
No, they don't. And that's the conversation I have, but I always am often involved way too late down the process. And it's, what is your exit plan? Succession planning. You know, planning for the future. You need an A, B, and C. Let's run some scenarios on what that looks like, and then what goals and milestones you need to do to achieve that. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah,
Most
they don't.
people don't.
They don't. Like I met this awesome entrepreneur yesterday. She's a single mother with 2 kids, and she said, "Hey, I want for the next 10 years, I want to make time for my kids, and then I want to have the mortgage paid off." Okay, so that's clearly 2 constraints right away. The mortgage, time with the kids means you probably want to make 150, 200K and kind of work 3-4 days. Okay, cool. That's a great story. So you need to set up revenue stream, income stream, cost, everything to fit that model.
Yeah.
That's for the first 10 years. And it's probably being purchased by these kind of people. Why don't you go have a chat with them right now? Right? So that you can start the relationship. So that in 7 to 10 years, you know what they want, whether it's more customers or a higher margin business, 2 different things. And so then you can work towards that. And you could see this person, this awesome entrepreneur, just her eyes just like, oh, that makes
The penny dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes like so much of the noise. This decision, that decision. No, I kind of know where I want to get. This is very different for a startup land. Startup land, it's 5% growth week on week, high growth thing.
And that's challenging in itself, right? I mean, just dealing with your supply chain and dealing with how do you accurately forecast and predict your revenue and, you know, all of that type of stuff, your resources that you need to get the product from here onto the shelf. And then so can you talk through some of your phase 1 ventures, some of the startups you've been working on?
Yeah.
So how many have you funded to date?
We funded 14 so far. It's an interesting phenomenon that occurred with phase 1. So usually how it works is if you want to invest into startups and you want to do a fund, you go to the market and you go, hey, I've got this thesis that we're going to invest into these type of companies and it's going to deliver these kind of returns. And then you get the capital and then you go find the companies.
Right.
That's how it's usually done. That's not what we did. 4 years ago, I started giving free strategic support and advice to a group of early stage founders. And that became a little bit of a cult community. I just keep providing support based on a set of principles I had. I was like open doors. I probably spoke to like 500 to 800 Kiwi entrepreneurs, right? And it was just through attrition, the people who stayed on the principles that I had. Then I went and raised a fund. So I invested into the community that we nurtured. So it's the other way around.
Do you mind just outlining what your key principles are for phase 1 for a successful startup?
Yeah, for sure. So you need to really build that customer muscle and that problem muscle, which takes about 2 years. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to grapple with your why, not your ventures why. Different thing. Your personal why.
Are we talking about Simon Sinek?
Sinek, yeah, sure.
Love that guy.
Yeah, sure.
Love him.
Yeah. What do you want to get out of this, right? And you've got to be brutal and honest with yourself about it. So that's number 2. You've got to understand the venture game. High risk, high return banking, which is actually what it is a different game, right? Like you get a home loan from a home loan advisor. You get credit for equity from a venture capitalist. that's a different game. What are the signals they look for, etc.? You need to understand that. You pretty much have to be US from day one if you want that kind of scale, because you need to hit the largest, most powerful market where law and order functions, which is US. India and China, huge markets as well, but signal reading, contracts, etc. work differently. Brazil's awkward. Europe is many, many states. You build a love product for the United Kingdom, it's got to change a little bit for France, change a little bit for Holland. So US is the one spot where if you build a love product, it goes bang. That's number 4. And number 5, it's going to take about 2 years before you feel like you're winning. So get ready for that. Founders don't die because they run out of money, or startups don't die. They stop when the founders run out of emotional energy. And they run out of emotional energy because they expect too much too fast.
So one thing that I'm really passionate about, there are 21% of licensed insolvency practitioners in New Zealand are female, right? So do the maths. It's, I'm one of very few. Female founders.
Yeah.
How tough is it for female founders to get funding for their startups?
Yeah, it's tough. Oddly enough, we have 35% of our startups are women founders, which is way above the market.
It is. I think I read a stat somewhere it was 7% in New Zealand, maybe 4% in Australia. Very low.
Yeah, and as I nurtured the community, I was very blunt. I was like, hey guys, systemic bias is a thing. All you guys have it easier, like to the men.
Yeah.
Right? And all I did was I just double clicked on whenever I met a female founder. Mm-hmm. I just spent more time.
Right.
And I was very proactive about it. I was very transparent about it. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, there are ample number of biases against you. I can't fix it. You're not going to fix it. But the only way I can conceivably address it is I'm going to spend more time with you. So I put more of my energy and resource top of the funnel.
Do you see greater returns coming back from startups that have been led by female founders? Is there any type of anecdotal evidence to show?
Well, Larissa, my wealth is because,
there we go.
is because of Melanie Perkins, right? Mel's a very special person. Mel's a very, very special person. I was 3 years in working with her, and she was 25. I was 31, post an MBA in professional services. And now I look back, she was already an Olympic athlete in commerce and economy by the time she was 25. She'd seen so much. She'd done so much, right? The most powerful thing you can do is win. Because then other people see you. Other women see you. Other role models occur, pathways occur. So just win. You started a venture, you started a business, there's customers, you have goals, just do that. And then it'll take care of itself. And once you get to a certain point, then you're in a position to give back, etc. But let's hit those goals first.
Absolutely. And I think that ties into something you are passionate about, which is customer obsession and problem obsession.
Yeah.
So what some of the challenges are with these startups and how do you refocus the founders to be customer obsessed?
Yeah, so the main problem is, and I made this mistake as a startup founder, is you start this journey with big plans and you're Braveheart. You're going to change the world, right? And you're taking this huge risk and nobody understands you. You started this hero's journey. And unfortunately, what most these really big scale founders imagine is, oh, I'm going to fix that mission today. So your ego and hubris is so attached to that, right? When that can't be the place you start. You should have huge ego and ambition to that mission, to solving the end problem. But you've got to solve a customer's problem today. you've got to have huge humility and focus on today's customer. And the way you get to that mission is by solving this really well, then solving the next thing really well, and then solving the next thing really well. So what I find is the founders who invariably end up having this grand mission or hitting it, they start this way. And then somewhere like Mark Zuckerberg or whoever it is, the Google founders did not go, hey, I want to reorganize the world's data. That was not where they started. They were like, oh, this thing works. Oh my God, momentum. Oh, we should probably like figure out like what we're doing here. Like, what's the mission? Founders who start with like mission first in the startup space, they don't win so much. You gotta love the customer because you have to build a loved product. Startups live and die because they don't build a loved product.
Recurring revenue.
That's right.
That's the one.
That's right.
Boom.
Engagement, retention.
Yeah.
Like you need to build something that sells like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard. In startup land, there's this phrase called do unscalable things. Don't worry about scaling. Just do the one customer. Do the second customer. Do the third customer. Build love.
Yeah. And trust.
Yeah, and trust. And suddenly, the 10th, 20th, wait a second, something's happening.
Yeah. Do a good job. People come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, but unfortunately, people start getting too fussed about, hey, what's the scaling problem? What's the marketing this? No. Just one customer.
Focus on that when you get there. Is
Yeah.
that kind of like, let's focus on growing the business now. And then when you get to that problem, let's address it then. So in regards to those scaling issues, what are the biggest challenges that happen when you are growing at 5% each week?
Okay, so if you're hitting that, then like things are going really well, right?
Yeah.
Because very few startups actually get to that love product and start scaling. It's actually interesting. After that, the big challenge becomes organizational. Like at Canva, things were like we went from 25 to like 300, 400 in like 2.5 years, something. Like it's just
Wow.
It's just breakneck.
And so you were head of people.
Yeah.
You were managing all of those people.
Yeah.
How challenging was that, right? I mean, you've done your MBA.
Yeah.
You're like in your early 30s.
Yeah.
And you're like running you're in charge of 300 people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exhilarating.
Did you know what you were doing?
No.
So and this is the thing. And this is why community is so important,
Yeah.
right? And your network. Because did you have people through your MBA that you could tap back into? Who did you tap into during this time to be able to do your own self-development and learning?
Yeah, it's a good question. So two things. You are the people who you hang out with.
Yes.
Right? And this is really important because Canva is one of the iconic companies of the last decade, right, in the world. So we're then playing at a level which is not available most places. So then we have to give Spotify a call. We have to call Uber. We have to call, because they're playing that game. So you have to, and the Sydney startup ecosystem was a bit judgy about Canva because it seemed like we were a bit arrogant. But hey, like, this is the game we're playing. So there's not so much value in us having these conversations. We need to have these conversations.
Yes.
And we need to understand how to like those people have broken this. So we need to learn. So that's one thing. So being very clear about who you're hanging out with and hang out with people who are a few steps ahead of where you want to get to.
Right.
That's really important. It's easy sometimes to like pat yourself on the back and be comfortable with somebody who's maybe not growing at the rate that you want to, right? They're not a better person. They're not a worse person, but what do you want? Where do you want to go? Hang out with those people. Right? Number two is you have to adopt a very first principles approach. Instead of just all the frameworks and the schema and all of this stuff, wait, what are we trying to do here? Like, are we Are we trying to hire engineers, right? All over the world as quickly as possible. Okay, where are all the world-class engineers? Oh, they're in the top US universities, Russian universities. Okay, what are those universities? Make phone calls to those universities. Where are those people? Okay, headhunt from those companies. There's no like automatic schema that's being provided. No, what is the problem? This is the ground zero solution. Now build back up step by step. There's no quick fix. Just think the problem through, form a first principles opinion, and then build up. And you just become really good at that because things are breaking so fast. Like toilets are an issue. Right?
You just don't have time
You
to
don't have
muck
time.
around. And so you have to find the people that you can tap into to help you. And I think more often than not, when I've picked up the phone to people who may not know me or don't know me that well, I've asked people to be mentors over the years. And most people are very happy to help or even just give you 15 minutes of their time to have a chat with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know how we talked about one of the most important things is I want Kiwi entrepreneurs to win?
Yes.
And we need Kiwi entrepreneurs to win. I want to see more of our entrepreneurs, especially the small, medium-sized players, play a global game, right? I would love 20% of our entrepreneurs this year to make one overseas dollar. Not like 10,000 or like $1 million or whatever. Just make one overseas dollar. Because we need to play that game. And I'm saying that because otherwise we're just having the same conversations and same people. We are awesome entrepreneurs. Like New Zealanders are as good as it gets in regards to problem solving, in regards to communication skills, in regards to EQ.
Number 8 wire.
Yeah,
That's
all
the
of
one.
that. But we don't see scale.
And is it just having the confidence of being able to pick up the phone, go into LinkedIn, find who it is, reach out?
Like there's so many, like the Australian market's bigger, Dubai's pumping. Make the phone call.
Yeah.
Make like if you're a digital agency, I don't know, try to win a customer in Dubai. Try to win a customer in San Francisco. Try to win a customer in Sydney. To your point, make the phone call.
Yeah.
Make 10 phone calls and you'd be surprised. About somewhere around the 20th or 30th phone call and about 3 months in, you have your first overseas contract. Then things change. Suddenly the market really opens up. And that is something I would love to see. And I'm going to focus a bit this year to try to like, hey, can we just look up a bit more?
And so are you, with phase 1, are you continually catching up with these founders and trying to refocus them on where they need to be, the direction they need to be going in?
Yeah, so the thing that we delivered was we got them from 0 to 1. And I'd say 10 to 15% of them are at 1 in the sense the market is now pulling. They've got the love product. It takes about 2 to 3 years to work it all out, get the product out, raise enough money, get the right people, have a thesis, have an understanding. It takes a long time. But once you have the love product and the market starts pulling, then the market teaches you. Your question about, who taught us how to do this? Well, the market's pulling. We're stuffing up at Canva.
Yeah.
Market's still like, nah, not good enough. Do better.
Change.
Yeah, and you're like,
Pivot.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, right? But the key is the market is pulling.
And do you find that a lot of these startups don't have appropriate kind of finance functions or whatever it is, marketing or, because they can't afford it, right? They're all bootstrapped. And that's what I see when I go into a lot of businesses that I'm working with. They, the business owners are very good at one part of the business, but they're not, you can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like I usually find that businesses are struggling because they haven't nailed their value proposition, right? Like it's not that often, at least my experience, the financial piece, there is a key error there that once you fix that, everything else changes, right? That is important, but usually the issue is, wait, this isn't a thing. Like, and there's not enough of a market here. That's the issue. And then you're trying to, or you haven't worked out exactly what the customer wants, right? You haven't focused enough on that. Definitely, businesses could always be more, that you could have better hygiene on the finance stuff and the accounting and all of that. I tend to focus on, okay, can we, like, do you have something that customers really want? That's
so
right.
how hard is it for a business to kind of, concisely propose what their value proposition is?
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is that
It takes a long time.
to even just put onto a page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of businesses, startup founders that hit me up, right? And start off with, we have an AI startup that does this, right? And they'll speak about 5 minutes, and I won't say anything.
I almost know what you're going to say next. But you go.
I think you do. They don't say who the customer is. They don't say what the problem is.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? And
what the problem is that they're trying to solve.
yeah. And they're like, we have an AI thing and this and this and this. And I'm like, and then after all of that, I'll be like, who's the customer? And they're like, oh, the customer is this and this and this and this. I'm like, oh, no. You need one customer persona. Like, you can't do 5 things. No, it's the CFO and the HR director and the marketing. No. I need you to like focus, because then maybe you have a shot at doing something that they will love.
But this is the entrepreneurial mind, though. It's all scattered. It's all, and that's why they're so great. But it is structuring and focusing on where they're best to apply their resources, I guess. And
Yeah,
time.
totally.
Yeah.
And with those first 2 swim lanes, the having that number
Yes.
makes
Yeah.
it a lot more real.
Exactly,
Right.
because then you milestones to hit and, key targets.
Right? Like it suddenly becomes a lot easier and clearer. Oh, we need to have an exit at 5 mil. Oh, that's for a services business. That's a 2 multiple exit. So we need to be generating 2.5 revenue. Okay. We make $100,000 from a client every year for this kind of service. Okay. Therefore, this many clients. Okay. Great. Go win one of those clients.
Yeah.
Simple.
I'm talking to a lot of clients at the moment around just where the economy is going with the recovery. So, the next 12 or 18 months, the recovery will continue. And it's kind of my prediction, based on everything I've read and people I've heard speak, that, in end of 26, 27, we're going to start seeing some really good growth years in New Zealand, hopefully, if what's happening in the US doesn't derail us. So I'm kind of saying to people, well, get your business now set up for either participating in that growth, or if you're looking at taking it to sale, what do you need to prepare your business for that?
That's actually really good advice. Usually great businesses are built in the lean times.
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurs are very clear. When you don't have options.
You don't have money.
You don't have money. You don't have money. Optionality kills you, right? I do this. Next thing you have kombucha and the thing and all of that, right? Like it doesn't. And it doesn't really help, right? So it's a great leanness helps you learn and understand who you are, what you're about, what your value prop is. So take this time to, and it strips away people who aren't up for this. So then, to your point, when it starts to grow again, you become part of the upside. Right? So I think that's perfect advice. Again, would love to see more Kiwi entrepreneurs start to go global. Yeah.
So what does the future hold for you? You've obviously got political ambitions. Do you want to have a chat with us around what the future holds?
Yeah, sure. So I ran for Parliament in Auckland Central for the National Party. Incredible privilege. Huge privilege. It's a special experience to walk into a room where you have a single parent who is a teacher, and they tell you about the challenges of paying rent and getting through it, and they're open and vulnerable, and you get to hear these stories, and you believe that you have a chance to help make things better. It's huge privilege. I told my wife 12 years ago on a second date, she's Australian, that I wanted to come back home and serve the country and run for Parliament in Sydney. And many years in, I said, hey, so got to go to New Zealand. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I told you. And she said, I thought you were just trying to hit on me on a second day. And I was like, well, I don't know. I told you. So this has been part of the plan. We've recently moved to Kohi.
Yeah.
I'm a proud member of the National Party. I believe in its values. So right now, the goal is to just make sure that the National Party is represented well and we're doing good work and connecting with the community. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I would like to serve the country in Parliament, but there's a few more steps that need to occur before that happens.
Nice. Well, we look forward to watching where you go to next, and I look forward to keeping an eye on these unicorns potentially and see how these New Zealand startups prosper and grow in the future. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Larissa. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you like the Fix and Fly podcast, make sure you like, comment and subscribe and share out to your friends. We look forward to seeing you next time.